What's up, tribe? Thank you for joining me and welcome to my channel. This is just a comment on yesterday's post and to explain why I was so emotional when the blog mentioned our ties to our mother, especially, and also when it mentioned that what Matthias was doing was creating another religion. And for you to understand my position on religion, I have to tell you how I grew up. So I grew up in a Muslim family, a Shia Muslim family, very religious, except for my father. My father was a musician, and that played a huge part in me being able to listen to music and sing and dance. Because by my religious mother's standards, that's haram, which means forbidden, not allowed. You're not allowed to listen to music. You're not allowed to dance, especially with boys. You're not allowed to do a whole lot. You're not even allowed to laugh out loud. You're not allowed to wear perfume because you'll tempt. Anything you do could be an invitation for a man to have sex with you. So I struggled with my upbringing. I rebelled. I used to sneak out and go clubbing. I used to rebel in every way I could. And I hated religion. I hated it so much. It was so oppressive. And I obviously wanted nothing to do with anything that remotely had anything to do with religion. And Matthias was explaining yesterday that when you deny something and you walk away from it, you polarize it, and therefore you end up being exactly that which you deny, just in a different way, just in a different form. So instead of the prayer mat, I have my yoga mat. Instead of, for example, the rule of you can't eat pigs, my rule is don't eat animals. And it just changed. I denied that I am just as religious as they are. Turns out that I might be even worse. But religion is not the problem. Matthias was saying yesterday that so when you walk away from it, you polarize it, and you're doing exactly the same, but backwards. For example, I hate my parents, so I go away from them, and I start my own family to end up exactly like them. Trying to eliminate what I hate, I end up creating a network. The mistake is to escape what I have within. So in order to heal it, stop running from it. And all the things they projected on me, I'll redesignify and find another meaning for it. Don't deny that you are part of a network, but make it a flexible network and not something tight. So he says religion means to create a structure of many links with many people. And the reason all these people were together is because they were all looking for the same truth or philosophy. Secta is the concept of following. So I'd highly recommend, I'm gonna leave a link to the specific alignment meditation that has a detailed explanation that explain this in a much clearer way. So I'd highly recommend you watch that so that we stop running away from things without understanding them, to find ourselves exactly in the place of that we judge, so that the universe stops placing us exactly in the place that we judged to be good or bad, to see that it's neither good or bad, it's just our human way of trying to connect. It's our way of building a structure that gives us security and stability. And everyone does it differently. Matthias has explained that to accept is not to surrender to something. Matthias has explained in one of those talks that to accept something is not to declare defeat to it. It's not to surrender to what is and just say that that's the Wu way of being, the, not interfering with the process. It's not that. Acceptance is taking that which you have been given, whether it's a life situation, a bodily condition, whatever it is, and to study it, to learn why it is the way it is. And then you can make your decision to accept it or not. But to accept is not to just, it's not non-action. It is action. It's the action of investigating. So I have been placed in a culture, in a sect that is extreme, to say the least. I was born into a sect that is very hard to accept. I mean, look it up. Shia Muslim rituals, and you'll see all kind of fun stuff like hitting yourself with knives, and I judged it. I didn't accept it. And it was very hard for me to accept being part of that. So I was walking as fast as I could away from it to a life of dance and art, and to anything that connected me to a state of peacefulness, happiness, joy. The sect I come from treasures drama. I mean, we wear black for a whole month and do these rituals, but all year around, my mother listens to these. I'm trying not to be offensive, but sob stories about what happened back when. And I don't say sob stories to belittle the sacrifice that those people, that my people honor so much, made in order to share their truth of how to connect with higher source. But I say that to share with you my perspective as a teenager, growing up around women wearing only black and hitting themselves and crying, remembering all these sad stories. And as an adult, I'm not gonna lie. So it's only now that I'm starting to see that my judgment, my denial of that aspect of my humanity, aspect of me as a human being, trying to find ways to connect and build a structure in which I felt secure. The denial of that aspect of me led me to end up in the same position that I judged. And so, since I didn't investigate it enough to see the purpose behind these rituals and behind these beliefs, I ran away from it. I cut ties. Well, I attempted to. But to my misfortune, the universe is not interested in cutting ties, but repairing them. Cell regeneration, like Matthias said. So after the long journey, which I mentioned in another talk, when the higher self said that it's not a linear path that we're walking, and that the hero always, doesn't matter how far he goes away from his roots, always comes back to the roots, always ends up in his hometown. And I spent many years traveling around the world trying to escape my roots, trying to deny my roots. And so the universe was like, who are you trying to run away from? Your mother? Oh, that's so cute. Now you're on lockdown with her. Indefinitely. Until you learn how to accept that she's only a different aspect of you and you of her. And you do things differently, but you both value your connection to source a whole lot. And I want you to see that. So that's why I was crying when the blog mentioned the mother and the sect. But I failed to see what was behind the mask. That mask of the the toughness of the guys that would hit themselves with knives. I failed to see that that is the only way they knew how to show their appreciation for the person that brought them the connection to God, the prophet. So what was behind the mask is the love. What was behind the mask of that violence, that distortion, was seeking the light. And so I really hope that none of what we share about realignments and connection to higher source ends up as a tool for self-torture instead of self-love. And that's why I was crying yesterday, because I would not want to be spreading a word or an education that would instigate hatred, self or other, but to provide tools to help us learn about who we are and how to use what we've been given. So I really hope that you don't judge before trying. Don't judge us for sitting there and trying to take our attention and center it inwards and chanting and making all these sounds before you try it yourself. And then you can decide. Or like Matthias says, feel free to judge, but try it. Try it and then judge. That's all I have for you, tribe. I hope it wasn't too heavy. Until next time, I'm sending you much, much love and hoping you all stay safe. Bye for now.